Okay, so if there's one thing that we can be sure of is that the powers that be are gonna constantly keep something out in the mainstream media to keep the people distracted and terrified and worried about. The most recent thing that we have now going on is this coronavirus. And this is apparently originating out of China. Now, they have the saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. That's basically, you know, the whole aspect of using one thing to affect multiple things. It's like a multi-pronged approach. The reason that I find this suspicious at this point, and I had this thought a little bit earlier. Now, what do we see at the end of 2019? Or around like the middle of 2019, we saw massive protests in China. The citizens were, I mean, there were like videos that were up on the internet. I've seen them on Instagram and on Facebook as being shadow banned. The mainstream media is absolutely silent, saying nothing about these things. The people in China, they're under this system where it's like a social crediting system. Like if you, like, depending on what religious views you have, what political views you have, what you post on your social media, you know, it all goes into your social credit score, and you can be penalized based on your score. And I mean, you can be banned from being able to get on a train or being able to fly to go to different places and all that, based on your social credit score. Another way that they kick things up a notch as far as the totalitarianism in China is the facial recognition software that they're using. So they got these cameras set up all over the place that use facial recognition in conjunction with the social crediting system to keep tabs on the people, where they go, who they associate, what they do, things like that, in order to determine their social credit score and, you know, treat them basically along the lines of, if you're a good citizen, that means you're going along with what the government wants you to go along with. And that's basically what that's about over there in China. And the people, they got fed up with it. So there were these massive protests taking place, like towards the end of 2019. There was videos online showing the people of China out in the streets in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, going against the police and all that. They're using lasers to take down the surveillance drones. They were using lasers to you know, shine the lasers into the facial recognition cameras and all that to kind of disable them, taking down those towers that the cameras are connected to. Things like that were going on in China, and that was going on for months and months. I personally find it odd at this point that this new coronavirus originates in China shortly after those massive protests are taking place, wherein the Chinese people have taken to the streets, going head to head with the police, gas masks, riot gear, and all that, and even using medieval weapons. There's some videos of people using like catapults and whatnot. I find it odd that this virus comes out of China shortly after those protests, or even during those protests. They're probably still taking place right now. So it just seems like that might have been manufactured to kind of throw off the people of China, you know, like just to kind of quell the issues as far as the protests and all that, or as a form of retaliation from their tyrannical government. It seems that way to me at this point. And then the whole aspect of the world is kind of waking up to overall corruption from the governments and all that. When we're seeing things like what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein, that most recent story. Well, what happened with that? Oh yeah, the most recent thing, the tapes, wherein that the video recording of where he committed suicide. Apparently, yeah, those can't be found, or they were destroyed some way or another, much like the technology to go back to the moon. And yeah, there's no tracking for that. So the story is that he committed suicide, but we don't have any proof that that actually happened. Um, so it's like things like that. Things like that situation with. I mean, if you look at it like political theater, that's cool too. Um, the thing about Joe Biden threatening to withhold $1 billion of taxpayer funds from the Ukrainian government if they don't fire a prosecutor that's looking into a company that's run by Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. And there was a corruption probe being conducted by Victor Shokin, I believe his name is. And Biden's on stage bragging at a Council on Foreign Relations meeting in front of these people, saying that the guy's got 6 hours to fire this prosecutor or he's not getting the $1 billion, pretty much. And a lot of people are just starting to notice a lot of government corruption all across the world. So more people are waking up, and this whole coronavirus, it just seems like the newest craze as far as these manufactured, man-made viruses go. You know, a few years ago it was Ebola. You know, years before that it was the swine flu. Then it's the Zika. Now it's the coronavirus. I mean, there's always something that we got to be worried about as far as these man-made viruses. And the coronavirus, just like any other virus, has a patent to it, and it was patented back in 2015, I believe it was. And you know, I mean, it's just out there like that. All this information's out there. It's available to the people, and a lot of people are starting to wake up to see the corruption of the governments of the world and realizing that something's not quite right. So this seems like another opportunity, in my opinion, for the government to retaliate against the people of the world who are starting to figure out that the world's run by criminals. And that's just me sharing my thoughts with you. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. As always, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. I'll see you next time. Thank you.